A hot take of mine is that anyone who drinks wine and claims that they can tell the difference between an expensive bottle and a cheap bottle is full of shit. I made the mistake of putting this statement in my social group chat, and then the discussion, or maybe argument, began. After a bit of back and forth between at least 6 of us, I stated that unless they could come up with a piece of evidence that would pretty easily change my mind, I would not yield my stance on the topic. And this is where my friend Matt hit me with an absolute whopper, known as the burden of proof, which is what you're going to learn a little bit more about today. But before we get there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Reese, and get ready to have this in your back pocket whenever you initiate or get dragged into an argument. The burden of proof. Who is responsible for holding it? See, there are always at least 2 sides to any argument, where one party makes a claim that the other disputes, and the one that made the claim is responsible for holding the burden of proof. They are responsible for justifying their claim, and this is further amplified if what they are claiming goes against the status quo, as in what is widely accepted by the masses. A good example for this would be anyone who claims that the earth is flat. In this instance, the person making the claim is not only an idiot, couldn't resist, sorry. In this argument, the person or party that is making this claim is going against what is widely accepted by society and is also further backed up by actual evidence. And just as a side note, if you are ever unfortunate enough to meet a flat earther, you can pretty much put that argument to bed by asking them to describe to you how horizons work. That should pretty much have you set. Anyway, topics that aren't as easily disproven or proven is where it gets a little bit stickier, and you need to be careful about what you might intend to start an argument about. If we look at something like a maths question, there will generally be a way to prove whatever it is you're claiming through a logical set of steps which will get you to your outcome. The trouble comes with more open-ended ideas and topics, such as my hot take, with experts having the inability to tell the difference between cheap and expensive wine. Before I go any further, drop me a comment down below if you think that you would actually be able to tell the difference if you were put to the test. I'd like to see where people stand here. I think it would be pretty interesting. And while you're down there, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It definitely goes a long way for the channel. Anyway, these types of discussions are often hard to prove because even if evidence exists out there supporting the theory, there technically might be evidence out there that also tries to disprove the theory as well. I actually did a hunt and went looking for evidence to support my claim after I realized that the burden of proof sat with me. And to be honest, I couldn't find conclusive evidence to back my theory up, but I couldn't find evidence that was against what I was claiming as well. So it made it quite tough to argue about because there was no way to get to a resolution. It was my opinion in the outcome. I guess this is where it's worth noting that obviously, in some circumstances, a clear answer might not be able to be found. And this is where you really need to be careful because even I myself have fallen into the trap of what is known as a logical fallacy. And this is essentially the pits of arguing. This is where you claim that you're right because the topic you're arguing about might not have yet been proven, or the opposite might not yet have been disproven either. I have definitely let my pride get the better of me in the past, and it's something that has occurred even recently, which I'm not overly proud of, but it's a good reminder that in some circumstances you should potentially drop an argument or your stance on a topic if it's something that is going to definitely backfire and make you look like a stupid idiot if you fall into the traps of the logical fallacy. It makes you look like a fool, so avoid letting this happen to you even if you truly believe in whatever it is that you're preaching. Okay, the burden of proof plays a very important role in our society in terms of how we interact with our fellow humans, whether they are our friends, our family, enemies, or just randoms in the street. In any decent argument that isn't just a screaming match, assumptions should be put in place that both parties can agree on. This will set the criteria for the person who has the responsibility to prove their claim. It exists in our legal system. When someone makes an accusation against someone else, the responsibility falls on the party that is making the claim against that person. Hence the term innocent until proven guilty. In science, a hypothesis is usually set which kicks off an experiment which has the aim of proving or disproving something. And in general, over the table conversations that we have and share with our peers every single day of our lives. Now that you know what the burden of proof is, I suggest you think twice before starting an argument where you might be making a claim that might be quite difficult to back up with evidence. Understanding this handy concept should give you an edge whenever you plan on entering an argument of any sort, because the burden of proof will either sit with you if you are the person making the wild claim. You're that person that's going to have to prove what you're talking about and preaching. Pretty simple, right? If you can pre-plan because you know the answer, great, you're going to win that argument pretty easily. In reverse, however, if someone makes a wild claim, you can just pick up the burden of proof and place it on their lap, and then they are the person that has to prove their claim. Again, making it a lot easier for you to win an argument if you know it's pretty wild and it's something that might not hold up when they actually start looking for proof to get themselves out of that burden of proof. And that is kind of where I want to wrap up today's video. I really wanted to talk about this topic because I think it's so interesting. I argue a lot. I love arguing. It's a lot of fun. And now having this tool in my belt, I can definitely sway some arguments my way because I understand who the burden sits with if they have to actually, prove what they're talking about instead of me disproving what they're talking about if they're the ones that make that claim. So that's pretty much where I'm going to leave you. Make sure that you incorporate this into your daily life. You get better at arguing, and that is pretty much it. I hope you have a good day. I hope you have a good week. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like and subscribe button down below, and I will leave you there. See you later.